I keep trying to record this video because there's so much into it. I get so excited and then I start making no sense. But I know this is the one. This is the one. So, let's talk about masculine and feminine energies. And yes, I know it might sound controversial because right now there's a lot of like, oh, let's not put any labels. And yeah, let's not put any labels. I think that social movement that is going on is for the better and it's gonna bring us great results. They always are. I saw it in a philosophy class. Even if social movement might seem too extreme, it's because it's balancing things out, and I think that's what it's doing. But anyways, that's not what the video is about. Let's talk about masculine and feminine energies. So we all have masculine and feminine energies in us because we need a little bit of one and the other. We need the sensitive, charming, beautiful, nurturing feminine side, and we need the hardworking, protecting, whatever else, masculine side, right? And you're never gonna be 50-50. You're mostly gonna be like mix, like 40-60 of it. But let's talk about a woman who is in her masculine energy and a man who is in his feminine energy. And I think this one's gonna surprise you a lot. So if you're a woman and you're the type that doesn't trust men, men suck, men are rats, men are worthless, useless, I don't need no man, I work for myself, I am independent, whatever. That's a great thing. It's a great thing that you're independent, that like you don't need nobody, as we all should. But look at the reason behind that mentality, because chances are high that you have that mentality not because you want to, but because the world gave you no other chance. Were the men in your life so useless that they did nothing but not protect you, not nurture you? They probably even used you and abused you, that you had no other chance than to hide in your masculine energy and become the man that you actually needed when you were a kid. Not even the men you needed, because this is not about women needed men. We really don't need them. And I'm not saying that like out of spite. We really don't need a man, but more like the protection, the nurturing, the being able to trust, all of that. You became that, but in a super hyper version. Because maybe even the family, your own family, when you're a kid, they were not able to support you. You were not able to rely on them. You were not able to trust them, etc. So you have to become this. Not even just men. It doesn't have to be men who transform you into this. But for the most part, if you're a woman that is in this energy, then you're probably alluding to your masculine energy because of a reason. Because the world gave you no other chance. I mean, they gave you no other choice but to do this. Now, let's talk about a man who is in his feminine energy, and you'll be so surprised because these two usually always find each other. A man who is more on his feminine energy is abusive, uses women, does not have a control over his own emotions, like outbursts of anger, hitting a wall, stuff like that, or being super immature. So that's where it's really funny for me, because that's what we have been convinced that is a masculine person, macho man, when really it's not. It's the complete opposite. That is a man on his feminine energy. Because what's so masculine about a man who cannot protect his woman, not even from himself? Like, somebody explain that to me, because it makes no sense. And of course it makes no sense because there's no such thing. Now, you can either be a man that relates to this or a woman that relates to this. I mainly made this video for women, not because I don't want to help men. Of course I want to help men if you're on that side, but since I'm a woman, I relate more to the side of the woman, because I myself had to go through this. I'll give a little story time. I never want to like do story times for my videos, but I feel like I always end up doing it. So I was a girl who was a lot in her masculine energy. I was very much so like, oh, I don't need anybody, hyper independent, didn't let any of my walls like fall. Like I was super defensive towards the world without even noticing. I was super defensive. If you don't even have to express it or say it to be it, to be somebody like a woman who is like very defensive of the world, so she becomes super hyper dependent, etc. I was a lot like that until I went to the strip and I talked to this one man actually. He was a good man. He was knowing his femininity. He was a good man. He was a good person trying to help me. So he talked to me. He told me, I've noticed that you are a lot in your masculine energy more than in your feminine. So after that, I gave it a thought and I was like, am I really? Because I thought that I was a very feminine person until after he told me that, I started like reflecting on it, and I started noticing how not just me but all the women in my family were indeed more masculine than feminine. Yeah, sure, we like wearing dresses and we like wearing makeup and all of that, but besides that, we had a very defensive energy, not trust for men, not trust for the world around us. So that's pretty much my story time. But after that, I started working a lot and like realizing, okay, because I told this man, how do you want me not to be in my masculine energy or not to be defensive against men, considering how men are? And he told me, because you're attracting them, you attract this man, because that's all you know. And here's what I want the women watching this video to understand. As long as you are in your masculine energy, you're gonna attract feminine men. And I know it's really hard. It comes up so hard to understand, because at first I was like, how am I not gonna be defensive of men if all I ever knew was men who I needed to defend myself against? And this is probably your case if you're watching this video. And like always, I hope that the people that need this video are the ones that come around it. So, and this was literally what I was thinking. I was like, how am I gonna not be defensive when I have reasons to be? But for people that are already aware of this, and I feel like a lot of people are already aware of this, we attract who we are. So if you think men are disgusting, men are stupid, men are not to trust, men are abusive, men are all of this, you're gonna keep attracting it. And I know it's not your fault that you think those things about men, because you experienced it. You experienced it. You went through it. You saw it. So you believe it. But I want you to understand that the only reason that was going on in your life is because the women in your life had to go through it. And that's how intergenerational trauma works. You experienced it. So now you think that all men are like that. But stop with me for a second and tell me if really that's the case. If you really think that all men out there are like that, because they're not. And I'm telling you as somebody who genuinely was convinced that all men were like that. They're really not. But our perception is a reality. You probably only see what you believe. You only focus on what you believe. And that's something I noticed. I was like, you know what? I actually know men, even if they're just 3 men, or like 4, even 2, 1. I know some that are nothing like that, that are good men. They love their wives, they protect, they support, they are strong enough to be strong for their partners, their family, themselves. I know men like that, but I never paid attention to it because my perception of reality was based on my beliefs. I believe men were pigs, men were dumb, men were people who were gonna use me or try to abuse me, etc. So that's the only thing I paid attention to, because your brain is only gonna look for affirmations, confirmations of the beliefs you have because of what you experience. And I want to tell you, none of it is your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You grew up with it. As a kid, you weren't able maybe to trust your own family. And this is not only men, like women too. Maybe the women in your life when you were a kid, they did not support you. They did not provide you. They didn't allow you to just relax and be a kid and trust them. And then after that, as a consequence, you look for men who were like that. Because maybe also the women in your life, the women in your family tree, they were like that too, and they had to go through that too. But you don't have to. I know you think, like right now, you must be thinking, this is crazy for me to think that there's good men out there. I need to keep defending myself. And here, you keep protecting yourself. You keep protecting yourself. But don't become a fortress. Don't become this. Protect yourself from this man. Yeah, take them out of your life, because it's nothing that's gonna help you. What really I'm trying to tell you is that, because right now it's a whole trend for women to hate men and all of that, but the more you pay attention to those men, the more men that show you those qualities are gonna appear. And I'm not telling you, trust men, just go out there and trust all of them. Go and see the first man that you see, just give them a big hug. Give them a big hug and tell them you love them. That's not what I'm saying. Make a transition. You can make a slow transition, which is the transition I've been going through, and it's amazing. You can start by simply just pay attention. Find for more. Prove yourself wrong. Prove your brain wrong that there's actually good men out there. If you don't have any examples in like anywhere nearby, look on the internet, look around. There is good men. And that's gonna help you to open the door. Now these men that are toxic and that are like what's his name? The guy that looks like Pitbull. That guy, the guy that is like very toxic masculine, whatever. Andrew Tate, I think. Men like that, don't pay attention to them. The more attention you pay to them, the more they're gonna become part of your reality. And the more you pay attention to men like that, the more famous they're gonna become. And the more the message is gonna get spread, the wrong message. So I've been doing this transition. Really can only give you much advice because I'm still going through the transition. Once I do the whole transition to being a woman that's able to trust herself, because when you cannot trust others, usually means that you cannot trust yourself. A woman is more on her feminine. Once I do it, then yeah, I'll give you full advice. But I wanted to do this small video just to open some people's eyes for women out there who were taught that this was masculine when in reality is a feminine man. A man that abuses, that's a feminine man. So a masculine woman and a feminine man somehow will always find each other. Why? Because you attract what you are. You're not gonna attract a man who is on his masculine when that's not nowhere in your belief system, which usually comes from your family, usually comes from all the women in your generation. You're not gonna attract a masculine man in your masculine energy. It's just not gonna work. And here's another thing. Sometimes women still somehow manage to find a masculine man in their masculine energy. You know what happens? The masculine energy in that woman just drops. Because this happens a lot in relationships. And you can see it. I've seen it myself. A relationship, a marriage, where the man starts lacking, starts becoming more weak, stops providing, stops protecting. Have you seen what a woman does on those cases? They become the men in the relationship. I don't want to put any labels again, social movement and all that, but you've seen it, I've seen it. They literally have no other option but to become the men in their relationship, and that's what happens when there's a change of energy. And can a relationship survive like this? I mean, I really don't know. I don't want to find out. I don't think so. I don't think so, really, unless you enjoy it, but I highly doubt it. I really highly doubt it that it's gonna survive like that. Hey, cool, you can try it. I pass, but I highly doubt. I've seen it myself when there's a dynamic in a relationship, because there's always a dynamic in a relationship, and the man all of a sudden starts lacking, starts receiving more than he gives, or gives barely anything back. What's the woman gonna do? She's literally gonna take on the role of the man. And the other way around, if the woman starts, I don't know, like the other way around. I'm talking more of a feminine side because I'm a woman, so obviously I know more one than the other. Anyways, the only people that have watched my videos, they know that yeah, I like talking a lot, I like explaining, but I also like giving advice. And like I said, I'm still doing this transition, so I can only give you much advice. But what I've done so far that's really, really worked is notice, woman that's watching this, you as a girl or as a woman, if you're watching this, you are attracting this man. Stop blaming them. Stop getting mad at them, because the more you get mad at them, you already know. And a lot of people that have watched this video, they know about the law of attraction. They know about the law of the universe, the laws of the universe. They know that the universe is a mirror of you. So why are you doing paying attention to this man? Don't pay attention to that. And I know it's so upsetting to hear them talk, but just understand, they're childish. They're childish. They're immature. Even if you argue with them for like 3 hours, they're still gonna be immature. They're not gonna be like, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, I'm so wrong. They're never gonna be like that. Even if mid-sentence they notice that they're wrong, they're not gonna admit that. They're not, because there's pride, and everybody has pride in arguments. But what are you doing wasting your time with them? What are you doing wasting your valuable, like, divine goddess, if you want? What are you doing paying attention to them? The more you pay attention to them, the more they're gonna appear in your life. The more you blame them, the more they're gonna stay in your life. Become aware you are attracting this man by your energy, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's what you experience. It's what you know. It's what you know. Stop paying attention to this man on the internet talking mad crap. They're immature. We know it. You don't need to watch them for... You don't need to pay attention for them for 3 hours to know they are. You already know. You don't need to argue with them. You're not gonna convince them of anything, and you don't need to. Your reality is created by what you pay attention to, what you focus on. You are responsible for your reality. Stop blaming this man. Stop paying attention to them. If there's a feminine man in your life, just take him out of your life. Oh, you'll see the shift once you make the shift. But this reality is a mirror. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, because you've probably been very damaged, very abused by men who were absolutely neglectful to you, maybe even used you, maybe even abused you. And it's a horrible thing. I do not condone it, but I can guarantee you can completely change into a new reality where you're gonna attract good men. There's good men out there. And as I'm doing this transition, the men that I have attracted in my life, I can tell you they're a lot different. They're still not what I want and expect from a man, but I've seen the change. And I'll keep doing this transition. I'll come back with another video once I fully feel confident that I took my own advice for well. Sorry. But at least I hope this video helped you to realize, to open your eyes, to, I know it's trendy to hate men, but the more you hate this man, because they're real, yeah, I see them, but they're not all men. You attract them, you see them, you realize, because you keep believing it. The more you affirm it, the more you pay attention to them, the more they're gonna stay in your life. Stop paying attention to them and start thinking about what a real man looks like. Learn to trust yourself. Yes, you can be the man you need for yourself without becoming an absolute fortress, without stopping your feminine energy from blossoming. That's the whole point of this video. You can be your own provider. You can be your own source of protection and support without stopping your feminine energy to blossom. That's my whole point for this video. I've been doing the transition. I feel so much better. I no longer pay attention to this man, and I've watched them disappear little by little. And the men in my life have changed their attitude towards me. Maybe not all of them, but for the most part. And once I do the whole transition, I'll make another video. But just become aware. You are responsible for your reality. You're creating your reality. What you pay attention to, what you engage in, it's gonna stay there. Stop fighting with people on the internet. You're never gonna convince them. Even if they know that shit, I'm wrong. They're gonna pretend they're not. Because they're not gonna tell you you're right. It's a waste of time. See yourself as a goddess, because you literally are. The divine feminine is real. Then are you gonna waste a single second of your energy as a goddess with a childish man that is on his feminine energy? Pay attention to the masculine men, because those are the protectors, the providers, the men that are able to stand up for themselves and for others. The men that are gentle to women, those are the men that are actually masculine, because they know how to handle their own emotions, they know how to handle themselves, they know how to be there for themselves and others. Do the transition. Yes, protect yourself, keep yourself safe. You can be everything you need for yourself without stopping your divine feminine energy from blossoming. Stop finding this man attractive. There's nothing attractive about a feminine man. But just remember, you can keep on being your masculine energy. But remember, you're gonna attract what you are. What combines. That's why anxious attachment people attract avoidance, because they combine each other. So if you're someone who is a lot on her masculine energy, what are you gonna attract? You're gonna attract these feminine men that are childish, that are immature, that don't know what they're doing, that they can handle the sex, they can handle their emotions, while you can. But you can provide for yourself, and this man doesn't. That's what they used you. That's why they abused you. But don't worry, because now that you do this, now that you know this is the first step. I hope I can upload another video. In the meanwhile, I think that's more than enough. Now that you're aware of this, I think it's gonna help. It's just gonna open a door for you to realize. So, like I said, stop fighting with these men. They're childish, they're immature. You're not gonna change it. You're just gonna waste your time. You're just gonna get mad and more mad. And the angrier you get, the more men like that you're gonna attract. Because the universe doesn't realize that that's not what you want. If you pay attention to it, if you keep fighting with them, you're gonna attract more of them. Stop fighting with them. They're childish. They're never gonna stop being childish just because you fight with them for 3 hours. You're wasting your time. Are you a goddess or not? Then what is a goddess doing? Wasting her time fighting with kids, literally, on the internet or even in person. Stop paying attention to them. Stop fighting with them. Second, change your beliefs about men. You don't have to change the beliefs of the men that proved you wrong. But just open the door for knowing that there's good men out there. There's good men out there. there's good men out there. The more you repeat that to yourself, the more you try to look for it, instead of trying to prove yourself. You see, men are men are mean, men are this. Instead, try to be like, there's good men out there. You'll find them, and that's gonna change your perspective. And number 3, you can be everything you need for yourself. You can protect yourself. You can be your own source of nurturing and support without stopping your feminine energy from blossoming. Whoever's watching this video, thank you so much. I hope it literally lends to those who need it, especially women, because that's yeah, I made it for women. Men can watch this video too, that's no problem with that. But I don't know if any of this advice helped you. I hope it did. If you're watching this video, because there's good men out there in my videos. I saw them comment in my other video, and they were more than sweet, and I am very thankful for you. So I'll see you guys when I update more. I'm kind of talking very softly, I don't know why, but I hope you still can hear me, because I know I have an accent. I was gonna do this video in Spanish and all my videos in Spanish, but thank you so much for watching my videos. You guys always give so much love to my videos. It's amazing. So I'll see you soon.